Welcome to the Rusted Garden Homestead. Today I want to show you my secret, so to speak, of growing really great tomatoes, in my opinion, every year. And the secret really is preparing the soil in the fall. And there's nothing, super secret about this, but I think the principles are really important. This is where I grew my cherry tomatoes. They did wonderfully. So many, in fact, I couldn't eat them all. So the whole key is to understand that your tomato plants send out surface roots. They send down roots in depth. So when you plant a tomato, fixing up the planting hole is great. You put soil around there where you're putting in your transplant. But these tomato plants are going to grow surface roots all over. And they're going to be looking for moisture and they're going to be looking for food. So you give your tomato plants now, it's the end of November, what they're going to need come May and June in the spring or later spring. So let me clean this up. We're going to get to putting down wood ash, cut grass. I'll talk about some alternatives, but it's real simple to do. And if you do that now, all the stuff is going to break down. It'll be in the surface. Your tomatoes are going to love it. You're going to have healthy, strong, prolific tomatoes. So here's some of the surface roots as I pull out some of the other plants. They're all over the place and they just spread out across the ground. So if we pull this guy out, you're going to see the roots are spreading far away, and they keep going. So that's why we want to feed the whole surface of the soil so these surface roots can get to the nutrition. And by doing this 4 or 5 months ahead of time, everything will break down. Rain will wash it into the top couple inches of the soil. So my secret really is just a slow and steady feed of the major macronutrients: nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Wood ash, the grass, this will help you grow your tomatoes to full size. They'll be prolific. You're not going to have massive, 10-pound tomatoes. But this setup is just a nice, slow, steady feed. Your tomato plants are going to get large, they're going to stay healthy, and you're going to have a great season. So let's take a step back. So these beds are going on their 3rd year. I put double shredded hardwood on top in the spring. This is broken down nicely. Leave it on top. It's okay if it gets mixed in a little bit. But this soil is really progressing nicely. You don't need to turn this over. If you have a lot of clay soil, you're just getting your bed started, I do recommend turning it, adding in amendments, but we don't need to do that now. So this is wood ash. I have a video that thoroughly goes over how to use it in your garden. I will link that. But this is high in potassium. It has phosphorus, it has calcium. Calcium's great for helping tomato plants manage blossom end rot. You're just going to take a handful and sprinkle it over the surface like that. Nothing crazy. Can't give you exact measurements. Doesn't matter what kind of wood you're burning. And I will do that all the way down. And that's going to set this bed up with potassium, phosphorus, and calcium. And you can see that I didn't use very much of it at all. The rain will come in, mix it into the soil, as I was saying. Now, a couple of things. Every video I make would be about 20 seconds long as if I just said use compost, which is true. If you have tons of compost, you can certainly still do this, but you could just put compost down in the fall, compost down in the spring, compost down during the summer. But most of us don't have an endless supply of compost. So I do recommend making compost. Use that in the spring and summer. But these are things a lot of people have. A lot of people burn wood outdoors, in a fireplace, and then we're going to put 2 to 3 inches of cut grass on top of here. 4 or 5 months over the winter is plenty of time for that to break down. And this is a perfect way to set up your beds, not spend a lot of money, and your tomatoes will grow wonderfully in it. So I did actually just want to show you generally how much I use so you have a sense. Not a lot, just sprinkled across the top, still have all that wood ash left. And then again, we're going to put 2 or 3 inches of the grass clippings on there, which I'll do. Just drop them on. And you don't have to cover it. The grass will stay matted down, it'll break down, it'll be fine. And just a side note, yes, I'm going to have tons of volunteer tomatoes coming up, but I'm taking all these cherries, everything that was here, all of that, it's going to go along my wood line across the other side of the property, and I'm going to grow basically wild tomatoes out of the wood line, which I think will be pretty cool. That'll be for the animals. That'll also be a place to go and harvest, but I don't need to tend or take care of it. All right, let's get to the grass clippings. So this is one bag from a push mower. If you want to subscribe to my channel, I'm going to do a full video on how I use the tomatoes and other plants that I'm pulling out and really planting food forest along my wood line. I think that'll be kind of cool. I'm also going to be doing a video on using 40-pound bags of alfalfa pellets, that's feed for horses and animals, as your organic fertilizer. It's as good as the organic fertilizer that you buy in those 3 and 5 pound bags, and it's like 30 cents a pound. It's really, really inexpensive. You'll save money. So this is one bag. When you're setting this up, if you have leaves, you could put down 1 inch of leaves first, and then you can put the grass on top. But because it's fall, you know, as you're cutting the grass, cut over some leaves. You're going to have grass and leaves mixed in there. In total, you don't really want to get past 4 inches of a combination of leaves and grass, because it could get matted down. But with the 4 or 5 months now from fall to spring, this should all break down nicely. Whatever doesn't break down, you can kind of pull to the side, but you can really just plant straight into it. Your tomato plants will love you for this. This is how I set up most of my tomato beds, but I also set my beds up in other ways. So if you subscribe to my channel, you might see, you know, me tarping in place with mulch from leaves to create leaf mold and doing other things. That's just to give you options. This is my favorite way, inexpensive, easy to do, wood ash, some leaves, but mostly grass. And you want to put the grass across the top. That will weight everything down, keep it in place. Hope this gives you some ideas of how to set up your tomato beds. You can check out my tour videos. I don't want to put in a whole lot of videos of what my tomatoes did this year because I wanted to just show you how to do this, but you could check out the tour videos and decide for yourself if the tomato plants were healthy enough to merit, you know, following this plan. Thanks for watching. And please check out my seed shop at therustedgarden.com.